Welcome to On the Spot. We're here with the Meet the Candidates series. We got two elder brothers here. One of them used to be my supervisor, but we're going to start first. We're going to start to my far right. We got Carlton Berkley, 100 black men from 100 blacks from law enforcement member, retired detective. We have my partner here, Jerome Rice, retired from New York City Department of Corrections as a captain. He was my supervisor. I made sure he had to come on the show. Of course, I let him know. When he come on the show, we gonna talk, but it might get a little heavy. But have your platform ready. This, as I said, is the Meet the Candidates series. It's important for our communities to find out what's going on, and maybe we need to get rid of some old timers that's been in office a bit too long. Bring some fresh faces in and hear their platform and hear what they're talking about. Mr. B, we'll start with you. Can you give us your own bio? I got something here. I got papers, but we're going to let you tell us yours.
Okay, my name is Carlton Chuck Berkley, born and raised in Harlem. I attended all public schools, right, in my district, right?
Pardon me, I'm sorry to interject. Carlton is running for the 9th Councilmanic District in Harlem. Brother Rice is running for the 12th Councilmanic District in the Bronx. You have Inez Dickens' seat. You're coming for Inez Dickens' seat. You're coming for Larry Seabrook's seat, and let's get back to you, brother. Let's get back.
Okay, again, like I said, I was born and raised in Harlem, right? 71 East 128th Street. My building no longer exists. However, I still managed to keep an apartment on the block. I attended my first, while I'm a public school graduate, right? Attended all 3 schools within a few blocks of where I resided. And I became a cop in 1984, did 20 years. I worked in various units such as anti-crime, community patrol precinct, which was called CPOP. I did anti-crime. I was an undercover narcotics officer. And I did my last 11 and a half years in the 3-0 squad.
Okay. Jerome.
Okay, well, I have a very extensive career. I started out, I grew up in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, that is. I'm the second of 5. Grew up with in an area that was congested with crime, various crimes. I went to the military where I've served both active and reserve. I did a total of 22 years in the military, where I served as a first sergeant. As far as my education, I attended Monroe College in the Bronx, where I have my MBA in business management and my associate in computer science. I served 21 years in the New York City Department of Correction, retiring with the rank of captain.
Okay, yes, you was my supervisor.
Right. And also, I just want to add that I'm one of the co-founders of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Care, which is a civil and human rights organization.
I see when y'all came up here, y'all spoke and y'all asked for me. And as y'all said, the people look like, these guys look like homicide detectives. Can you start? Somebody tell that story.
As we were coming in the building, there was some guys working downstairs for corrections. And I mean for doing construction. And when we came in, right, we just walked right in. And going back to my police days, more or less, that's what we did if a door was open. And right away, the guys looked at us, but they didn't even try to stop us. And when Jerome said, well, are we in the right place? The guys are like sort of, reluctant to ask anything. And that's because usually when I was a detective, you come in and you take over. You'd be surprised what people would let you get away with. And that goes back to the problems that we're having all through the city now with this stop, question, and frisk with the NYPD.
Well, that was coming. Well, let's start with it. That's a civil rights. That's not only a civil rights issue, which your candidate is the chair. I'm gonna start with you, Jerome, because that's important to me as the chair of this committee. If you were the chair of this committee, wouldn't this here be a wouldn't you have a problem with that card that they just gave out
That's correct. And in fact, I would be insulted primarily because the NYPD has refused to run anything past my office. Should I chair the committee. How could you put a pilot program out and not run your ideas past the committee? And based on what's taking place now on the stop and frisk, the NYPD had came out with a pilot card. Basically, on that pilot card, it tells you there's nothing but checkoffs where the NYPD will stop and frisk you. And if the individual asks why they was being stopped and frisked, all the officer has to do is check off a generic box. So it's a generic question on the box. It's nothing thorough that would say why the individual is actually being stopped and frisked. The other problem I'm having is that in the areas of stop and frisk is that after you stop and frisk me, and it's been determined that I don't have anything illegal in my pockets, you then take my information and you put it into a database.
Of course.
Now my information is placed into a database for future references. In the event that a crime take place and they want to get some leads, they are to go to that database.
But now that's the first part of the problem. The second part, as 100 Blacks in law enforcement, did anybody reach out to our current council member and ask him, well, where do you stand on this issue? Something formally in writing, like you chair this committee.
Okay, what I've done is that I wrote a letter to Councilwoman Inez Dickens. She's in charge of the conflict and interest. But I wrote that and pertains to a variety of ethic violations that I believe Councilman Seabrook has violated.
Okay.
Okay.
You read the paper, you know, the other day.
That's correct.
Okay.
Right, and because Councilman Seabrook has a history of bypassing the ethics board in regards to the hiring practices of his family members.
Okay, that was in the time.
Right.
Would you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Sure.
We're going to get to you, brother.
Okay.
And then we're going to get to policy.
Okay.
We haven't touched policy. We touching a little,
right.
little civil rights, 100 Black law enforcement. I got a little views on that too, and we going to speak on it. But just touch on that for a moment there.
Sure. Councilman Seabrook has hired his sister, Priscilla Jenkins, to oversee a group that is designed to bring diversity into the city called Omnicom. He also hired his nephew, and he also hired his brother.
Personally hired.
Personally hired. However, none of these three individuals have gone past the conflict of the board the ethics board, which is a violation, because I want to know how many other people was best qualified. Who is to say that Priscilla was the best qualified individual for the job?
Okay. You have something to say about that, brother?
About this?
Being that Inez is in your district.
Well, yeah, she's in my district, and Inez is the majority whip. However, Larry Seabrook is the chair of the Civil Rights Commission. And when you're talking about stop, question, and frisk, we as an organization has reached out to him plenty of times. All he has done is tap dance. He really doesn't care what goes on in the community, and he doesn't care how many cops are out there violating people of color in the community.
Well, he was on the radio about a year and a half